Aloha, everyone. We are live here in the studio. It's August 4th. Aloha at the neutral zone. Good morning, everyone in Hawaii. 11 a.m. For those of you on the East Coast, it's about 5 a.m. So it's 5 a.m., 6 hours. At 5 a.m. today, my guest was up in the Iao Valley of Maui, Hawaii, doing what I see as a morning ritual. And Vince Mina, blessings to you. Welcome to the
Aloha,
show.
brother. Thank you. Nice to see you. Thanks for having me in.
We're here on radio, KAKU 88.5 FM, the voice of Maui, which is simulcast on Akaku, Maui Community TV, Channel 55, and rebroadcast 7 a.m. Saturdays, plus they put it in the schedule, but we have it at MauiNeutralZone.com. You go to YouTube, you put in Jason Schwartz, Vince Mina, Maui, up it'll come. And we even did another show early in my neutral zone time here. And over these years, every time I see you, every time I think about you, I just smile.
Oh, bless your heart. Yeah, thank you.
And I think, oh, yeah, where do I get those greens?
Still doing it, man.
And
Still
I
kicking.
got a gift today of some greens and a papaya from the farm. Tell us a little bit just to reacquaint everyone about your farm.
Yeah, our farm. We've been blessed back in the day when I was a decorative painter by trade, and I wanted to farm and never farmed for a living. I had a garden. You know, my grandfather was an avid Italian gardener, and so I said, you know what, I need to let go of this trade and go after what I truly want, and because I hit the 40 walls when I was 40, you know, and at the time my wife was pregnant with our little girl. And so instead of kicking me in the ass and saying, get back out there and get some work done, she said, go for it. Because she knew how
Passionate you were.
Yeah, how passionate I was about working the land. And so as our little girl, you know, our baby in the womb saying, Dad, here, I know the way for you. You know, I'll show Mom in the womb, you know, and because I didn't have land or equipment. And so Mom goes in the store and she buys up sunflower greens that were being planted at the time by somebody else. And she buys all the bags off. She's never had them before, right? And she just, something told her, my little girl told her, Mom, Irene, buy all this. Wow. And so she came home with all the bags of sunflower greens. And at that time, I wasn't working. I was, you know, finding my way to see where I could go farm. Mm-hmm. And I said, what do you keep buying them for? Because, you know, as a man, I'm thinking, you know, I got to provide here, and you're spending all the money. But we want you to have what you want.
A lot of seeds, huh?
Yeah, and so basically that's what got it going. And here we are, 31, they're going on 32 years later, and on 2,500 square feet, making a living at farming.
Things are sprouting at your house.
Things are sprouting, yeah. So microgreens.
How long does it take when you?
7 days.
So I'm thinking
from soaking to harvest.
Soaking. So, but you bought originally as much as you could find.
Yeah.
And let's just now say, that which seemed like a lot, how much does it take? You have to create your own seeds besides?
Oh, no. That's the Achilles heel with this business is we bring it in from California. We bring the seeds in, you know, so we're reliant on the seeds coming from the mainland, mainly because of their hybrid seed that to have it here, I would have to put up a bunch of money, get it land and all that stuff to make, you know, it's just not.
It's not
in the cards, you know. And so, you know, basically we're still going at it, though. We supply the island. Everything we grow stays here on island. And we have purveyors, and we also deliver ourselves to like Mana Foods and Down to Earth and VIP, and then there's hotels and restaurants that get it also, and Fork and Salad. And
you say that so quickly about 2,500 square foot farm.
Well, yeah, it's.
Let me share with you to make a living 2,500 square feet. So let's just do a little quick math. That's pretty small, right? That's 75 by 100 is 7,500 square feet.
Yeah, there you go.
So 75 by 100. So 25 by 100?
Well, it's not one space, right?
Yeah.
There's 1,700 square feet in growing area. and there's 400 square feet in composting area because every flat that we cut, because we grow it in compost, we recompost it and then reuse it and mineral balance it, and then there's 400 square feet in processing and chill space, so it's 2,500 total, yeah, on a 9,500 square foot lot.
I see. So now that just means to you home farmers, first of all, sunflowers were covered, and you do more than just sunflowers.
Yeah, radish, pea greens, and wheatgrass
in one little space.
Yeah.
And do you supply mostly? I would think you'd mostly have high-end hotel kind of clients.
Yeah, I'm not sure where it goes into the hotels, but Cooler Produce and Sunfresh and VIP, there are purveyors that take it to the hotels. We had 51 accounts at one point that we delivered all to, and some were like for a pound and a half. But we delivered all that, but then it got so busy that we couldn't do it anymore, so we turned it over to purveyors. But we lost a lot of those mom and pop because the purveyors, you have to have like a $200 minimum, for the purveyors to go there. But it's good in the spirit that, we can have a mixture. We're still hand delivering though,
And we're doing things like this where we're going to create people that somehow will supply themselves or the little guy.
Yeah.
Like you say.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been a leader.
It's been a long, strange trip, Jason.
I don't remember exactly when we met, but were you at the 1989? Suzanne Hills and Colin Cameron put on the Business and Environment Annual Conference.
Oh,
Beacon.
I remember those. Yeah, right.
And it started, and it only ran like a couple of years.
Yeah,
but at
right.
that, I met a lot of people that, if they're still alive, may they all otherwise rest in peace. At this visionary original conference, Maui Inc. magazine.
Yeah, right.
Which was our magazine around here. I liked their format. I styled insert. We have a lot of stories to talk back, and you realize the road could have gone left or right many times in our life.
Yep.
But way back when, I spotted this guy. I don't know what you were doing, but I remember I just liked you. I don't know what you were doing. Do you remember when we met?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't start actual farming until 1994.
Oh, okay. So I knew you before that. For sure.
But it's I was a decorative painter by trade
when
I came here, and thankfully I got out. I mean, I ran into other painters, and they went, "How'd you get out?" After I left the painting trade. But I'm really, it's interesting too, because the twist and the turns of it all was my wife and I harvesting in the early days with a baby and our son at the time too, who grew up on the farm, and we were talking about, here we are harvesting and eating this great organic food, but why don't we feel like on top of our game physically? And so we put out I went to a conference on the mainland, an Acres USA conference. It was a conference that after I hung up the phone that I signed up for, I said to my wife, there's going to be all these farmers there. And at the time we were farming on 400 square feet. And so I got there and befriended the owners of Acres USA, and they invited me to the speakers event that was happening in the evening, because I came from so far, from Hawaii. And I was talking to this one guy who was growing 1,000 acres of organic beets. And as we're talking back and forth, he says to me, "How many acres are you on?" And I said, "Well, 400 square feet." He said, "You're doing better per square foot than I am." And that's when I realized it doesn't matter how big you are, it's how efficient and the quality and the production level that you can do with that quality. And so that was really a nice awakening. But the neat thing about it was I met these wonderful presenters there. And at the time, I became president of Hawaii Organic Farmers Association because nobody else wanted it. I was on the board. And they just wanted to sit around and smoke joints, But it was a thing where I took it, I took it to heart in the spirit that there was so much needed to be done in local agriculture. And so in that position, I was able to build a conference, the first conference on soil and body and soil health. In 1998, we had it up in Omopio. And Wonderful event. It was on, all the chairs were on mulch outside under a tent, and that gave way to developing Maui Aloha Aina Association, which I got one of our older shirts on. And we put on body and soil health conferences, exploring the relationship between our bodies and the soil up on a farm in Olinda, and of Steve Wilson's farm, Kumalani Farm. And had amazing, it was just amazing. What I loved about it was we had all these state-of-the-art, world-class presenters talking about this relationship between our body and the soil. And then they would go to eat lunch. And there wouldn't be like, donuts and coffee. My wife would put on a spread like you wouldn't believe, all this wonderful organic food. And so it actually walked the talk of what the conference was about, yeah. And we held... a number of them went from 2001 to 2014. And
wow.
And then from that,
your group was mostly farmers, people just interested.
Farmers and gardeners, and people just interested in better health and
okay.
And supporting local agriculture. And it was on a beautiful farm. Right now, the farm is Steve Wilson is no longer running that farm. That farm is a Lapa'au farm. Yeah, Michael Marchand and his wife Lauren, and they do an amazing job. I'm so stoked that farmers like them are on that land that we opened up for body and soil conferences. And Steve Wilson he's an amazing guy and beautiful friend, and he sells his starts up at the farmers market now in Kula. And so it's wonderful to see how all the offshoots of things that occurred over the years.
Well, it's really funny because at your conference, one of them, there was a guy presenting tsunami products. And this tsunami products took water out of the air.
Oh, right.
And
that's
could
right.
also grow starts. Do you
That's
remember
right.
that guy?
Yeah, he was
Ted.
he was up at Ryan Earhart's farm.
Right.
And,
so.
and he was harvesting
there was all
hundreds
kinds of
gallons
visions
water.
of that happening,
Yeah.
and a big one that was stored here, and that they're still around, although he's no longer with them.
Yeah,
but that
too bad.
idea
I know.
is just when I drive around here and I look up in the hills and I say, water,
Yeah.
water. We fight about water. What about from the air?
Right.
Why don't we do something to do it en masse here?
Yeah, truly.
Find some way to do something with it.
Truly.
And then the other thing, the
Yeah.
two things that I saw, water from the air,
Right.
Electrolysis of water for HHO, and taking green waste and turning it into biochar and phytoceuticals, Michael Smith, Regenitech.
Yeah.
And I remember walking on your farm with Michael, and the quality of what you do is world class.
Well, thank you. Yeah,
maybe
thank you.
if you don't know, you probably do.
Well,
World
we've been at it
class.
for a while, so practice makes perfect.
And you talk about a farm.
Yeah.
The 400 square feet can be a farm, and compared to a guy with zillions of acres, it should encourage all of you out there who say, I can grow things if I learn how to grow things.
My wife always tells people, grow something you love.
Yeah.
Grow something you love, and it'll grow from there. And so there's we're so fortunate as a family to be able to not only have that experience of a farm, but it kind of morphed into us developing a chapter of the National Farmers Union here in Hawaii. I was 12 years president of that organization, and it's still going today, thankfully. Having a voice at the state legislature, because I noticed the state legislature listens to national farming organizations when I was on the board of the Farm Bureau. But National Farmers Union valued regenerative agriculture, and so that's what I appreciated about being involved in that aspect and getting a chapter going here in Hawaii. And then because of that position, I was able to sit on the Board of Agriculture, a volunteer position, for 8 years, State Board of Ag, and that was quite an experience.
I bet.
Yeah. So here's this boy from Philly, who just loved the garden, and what opened up, and so I feel very fortunate to have been able to have my passion, an outlet for my passion to be expressed, and then raising a family at the same time. And so
you speak so eloquently. I must say, I remember, if you guys haven't seen the TED Talk from Vincent.
Right. Yeah. 2012. That was the first TED conference on Maui, and I was, that was an interesting dance. Met some great presenters there. Just saw Gary Greenberg over in Kihei with his
Talking about
sand grains and microscopic photography, and he's amazing. And so yeah, it was quite a.
But you're
quite an
amazing
experience.
because the message from your conference. I'm going to let him give you a 30-second synopsis of what you said.
On the TED Talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was showing what happens in a soil structure when there's not humic structures in the soil, and how it becomes hydrophobic. It actually repels water instead of allowing the water to absorb into the soil. So we really need to pay attention to our soil structure.
You start to get really excited. You start to really root for the soil. You really root for the soil.
That's right. Root for the soil. I love
And,
it. Yeah.
and you're the land that I just remember that when I was standing there at your place, the thing that was the focus was the soil.
Yeah.
That's really where the action's at.
It's so cool too, because it's like a sponge cake. We were constantly in the composting process on our farm, and I get up on top of it, and it's a sponge cake. The humic structures of the compost pile, and the way we have it situated is that we don't have to turn it. It's a static pile. So one pile is being built, while the other pile is being harvested. And when the one that's being harvested goes away, then we build there, and then we harvest from the other pile. So it's just back and forth. And then that led into vermicomposting. I'm doing a lot of vermicomposting now with worms, and creating, worm chow, basically, or worm castings for folks to be able to dress their plants with. And, then there's this weed mat here.
I was just going to say,
yeah,
weed mat. Has anyone ever seen this? If not, it's
perforated cardboard.
How do you sell this? By the foot?
By the mat? No, by
the
the pound. Actually, we do pounds, 20-pound bags, and it's about 100 linear feet. Oh, there you go.
One more time. Excellent.
It's about 100 linear feet, and the beautiful thing about this is, I'm consulting with folks to be able to utilize like gypsum underneath, because we're calcium deficient on the island. So I tell folks, look, dress gypsum underneath, lay the weed mat down. Once this starts to deteriorate, what's going to happen is that carbon from the weed mat is going to go into the soil, but thankfully from the calcium presence, and those cuckoo weeds, those really deep-rooted weeds you don't want to have there, will start to go away over time by continuing to make a layer cake in that respect with the gypsum and then the weed mat. And so this way you're getting a number of things that occur. You're mitigating weed growth by having the mat. You're changing the weed profile to more innocuous, shallow-rooted biomass, that covers the ground, and you're building your soil structure to where you can plant in. So it's really a beautiful medium that we're gaining traction on, and would love to see more people use it.
And farming is, I remember the old days of go out, put a little thing in the ground, put water on it, walk away, come back, smile. It's a lot different now. There's so many things. Growing, I want to say, has been perfected, and farming is a science.
Yeah,
it is science.
It's sad to me though is because of all the use of Roundup, going to war with the weeds, and not understanding why they're there in the first place. And everything has a general vitality. Yeah, even weeds. And if you take that general vitality of that particular, makes that weed thrive, it won't grow there. So it's really important to understand in the soil science that deficiencies or excess will bring a particular weed there. And so you just got to find out through soil tests and through analysis to be able to,
You see this, when I look at it, I'm constantly seeing fields being created and planted. Are they using things like this?
Yeah, on a small scale, people are using it. Like I said, we're just kind of getting going on this. We had a county grant last year, and we had distribution of it for people, and then people love it. I mean, I just posted on Facebook this one client who 4 months ago laid it down and then planted a succulent garden. It looks beautiful, and there's not a weed in sight. Just following the protocols that I was talking about, and so it's really important that we find ways to be in relationship with nature, and this is a good start. What interesting too is a friend of mine was just telling me, and I saw on the internet where they have it now, computers on the farm that will I don't know how they're coming to this. I would think it's probably around ultraviolet rays or something that the plant gives off, but there's a it laser zaps the weed and doesn't touch the other plants. So it's a way to get rid of Roundup, kind of thing. There's science going on in that respect. But what I want to see happen is, yeah, that's great, but find out why that weed was there in the first place.
Like you said, why is it
vitality.
Here? What's it drinking?
Yeah, exactly. what does it eat?
It here?
Yeah, exactly. It tells us. And that's the same thing like with the fireweed. A friend of mine did an experiment with fireweed on a pasture fence. And on one side of the fence, he applied indigenous microorganisms in a medium on one side of the fence, and on the other side of the fence he didn't do anything, and the fireweed died on the one side of the fence that he applied the indigenous microorganisms, and the other side of the fence it thrived. So there's these kind of trials that you can do and be part of. I just feel, and the recycling office in Maui County has been very much involved in wanting us to upcycle materials like the cardboard, like fish. We're fermenting fish. My wife is from a fisherman's family. She's Hawaiian, yeah. And when I told her that I was going to be fermenting fish in our greenhouse, she said, "No, you're not." But we have over 1,500 pounds of fish fermenting in the greenhouse, and there's no smell, no flies. Yeah. So fermenting with sugar and biochar, and 6 months' time, you have a wonderful fertilizer to be able to use, And so we're in the process. We have 1,500 pounds fermenting. We're in the process of getting another grant to where we can ferment another 4,500 pounds.
Is it the flesh or is it all
everything? Everything.
So you can take
run it
the
through a
stuff
grinder.
that would be throwaway.
Oh,
otherwise.
yeah. Well, that's what we're trying to do is keep it out of the landfill.
Right.
And we grind it up. I have a grinder and grinds up the fish, and then we mix it equal amounts of sugar and 10% biochar, and it's amazing.
Wow.
And 1 capful per 5 gallons of water. So 1,500 pounds is going to make a lot of capfuls. And so just upcycling. Upcycling is the key. To have this be able to add back to the environment, because there's been such a take, right? Been such a take, and we just wanted to give back. Aloha Aina, Malama Aina, yeah. And that's been.
And is it all under your farm name, or how is it going on?
Yeah. My friend Ricky Apana, he's uncle of Kimo, former mayor. He's a brother of a different mother. We've been together since we met on Koho'olawe back in the early 80s when I was composting there. As a matter of fact, I'm going back.
Oh.
Yeah, in a few weeks going back, and it's going to be my wife's first time on Koho'olawe. 3 of us farmers and their wives. We're going to go over there and assess what's happening there and be able to help them support whatever way we can to get those plantings even more of a chance to survive on island, yeah, it's exciting. It's been 45 years since I've been back on island. So
wow.
I'm just like going, yeah, exactly. I'm going
45, you've been back on island.
I haven't been back, yeah, so I'll finally get a chance to go back.
45 years.
On Koho'olawe, yeah. But I was back in the day of Uncle Harry Mitchell, and I was able to mentor under him. We were all around a campfire at Haki'oawa on Koho'olawe and our access, and he was talking about how he's a taro farmer in KNI, and tells people come and you can come to KNI and work in the taro patch if you like. Well, I was the only one that took him up on it, and I was the best thing I ever did. I would go out there and I would paint, as do my painting thing to pay the rent and everything. But then I would head inside country and go to KNI and work with Uncle Harry, and then go to Kipahulu and work on a farm there. And so, in the early days, in the early '80s, it was a wonderful experience as a single haole from.
I just remember, I don't know where we were, but I remember I met Irene, and that I met her husband. That's how I met you somehow. Way back when.
Yeah.
Just always been a bright spot.
Yeah, thank you.
And you surround yourself with bright spots, and you always seem to bring light to everything.
Thank you.
Your daily thing up on the Facebook is always a pleasure. You thought.
Well, thank you. That was spurred on by, back in 2019, our son passed away. And, we, after that occurred, I wanted to take my wife and daughter out of Dodge, get them out of Dodge, because, people, well-intentioned, but we just didn't want to run into anybody. We didn't want to talk about it. We just wanted to circle our family wagon. It was a traumatic experience for us, still is today in a sense. And we went to Sicily and Italy to meet my roots. My grandfather's brother never left. And so his family is still in Sicily, and then their family members live in Rome and Treviso, and so we were able to go there and meet them and spend time with them, and it was a beautiful thing to be in another country where you don't speak the language and yet embraced and loved with the warmest of aloha, And so with that, I trained, because I know Italy's a lot of hills, right? So I trained and walked up the Iao every day. And I always was going into Iao anyhow. As a matter of fact, I kissed the rock each day that my son would jump off of when we were going up there to jump in the pool, and he was an avid Iao participant. And so that led to my continuing to just go there each day and get in the river. I go first thing in the morning. I walk up a half mile and jump in the river, and then walk back a half mile, and dry by the time I get to the car. And but it gives me a chance to be the quiet of Iao, to experience the quiet of Iao, and just to hear the stream and the birds and the wind, and to just visit with my son each day, And so, and then that led to doing a thought for the day. I did one, and my daughter encouraged me to continue on with it, so I look forward to doing that. It's been a really cathartic experience. And so,
do you remember much rain up there? It seems like you avoid rain a lot.
Well, we need the rain. We need the rain, and so when it does, when the river swells, I don't go in, but I do still go up there, and I just dress accordingly. I every day I'll have. I
was curious if you ran into much rain up. Because you have a good spot there.
Oh yeah. Like this morning, it was so clear. It's nice to be able to be under the falls and not be concerned about a flash flood.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But no, I'm practical when I go there.
I'm sure you are.
Yeah. And but it's just a very wonderful way to start the day, and people kind of tripping out, going, "Aren't you freezing?" And it's a thing where I've been able to learn along the way through those conferences. How, if I get cold easy, what to do. And how to be able to, what's going on in my body that I'm getting cold easy, and so and for those out there wondering what that is iodine. We're all iodine. A lot of us are iodine deficient. And that's why the big breast cancer issues going on and thyroid cancer going on, because we concentrate iodine in our thyroid and in our mammary glands. And so when I've learned that, it was like, because when I first came here and I would get into Iao, I couldn't go in the water unless the sun was out. And then through our conferences and these brilliant people that came and presented, they were sharing about iodine, the importance of iodine. And so what iodine does, it raises the metabolism, it dumps heavy metals, it thins the mucus. Yeah. And so that's why in raising the metabolism, I could go in now I mean, I'm in there before sunrise on the water, after sunset, and I'm feeling refreshed. So it's really, if people get cold easy, look into their iodine levels.
Wow.
It's really important. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
See that? All of you that can't see that, you're on KAKU 88.5 FM, the voice of Maui. I'm here with Vincent Mina. What's the name of your farm?
Kahanu Aina Greens. And Kahanu Aina means the breath of the land greens. Yeah.
Kahanu Aina Greens.
Yes.
.com?
Don't have a
don't have
a
one.
website.
Okay.
But Kahanu Aina Greens.
What's the phone number we can make sure you have?
808-357-3877. That's my.
Is that the way to get them?
That's the way to get.
That's the way to get you?
That's right.
If you want them and you don't see them around, that's how you have to get
That's
them.
right. And then Tuesdays I deliver, excuse me, Mana Foods. Wednesdays Down to Earth. Tuesdays VIP. And then we just, Fork and Salad just delivered before I came here today, and Local Harvest we deliver to them, Purveyor. But we sell all we grow. We used to, when KKI was living, we were producing like 600 pounds a week, and now it's about 200 pounds. We've scaled it back. I'm 72 now. So I'm just wanting
72 years young.
Young, that's right, man. Every morning, Jason, when I'm in that river, I feel like my 20s again.
I bet.
And so it's really a wonderful way to start to do, because I still love doing the physical work.
How far up you running? A mile or so?
Oh, I don't run. I just walk. Half mile up,
okay.
and then get in the river, and then half mile back. Yeah, but and it's funny too, because there was a part there where I'm finding that it was difficult on my knee, on my one knee that I had operation on, and I started walking uphill as I'm going in there, and that really has strengthened my legs a lot, So these little things really help out, keep me in the game, because I just love going to that place. And that's where my wife was born, as a matter of fact.
Is that right?
Yeah, she was born on her birth certificate. Her place of birth says Eal Valley Road.
Wow.
Like she's dropped on the road, But one of the
Wow.
houses up there, yeah. And she was the only one of 8 children born at home. Her grandmother learned how to drive to make sure she was there for the birth. And so Irene is a special grandmother today from that, because she valued so much her grandmother, And so so we had Kahanu, our daughter, at home, and Kahanu has had her baby Kailani at home. 3 years now she's home,
Wow.
home birth. And so it's a beautiful thing, just keeping the family connected in the best way possible, through the land.
Yeah.
And watching Kailani grow up on the farm is a sweet thing, She loves the farm. She loves eating sunflower greens, And
I think we all love sunflower.
yeah, right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the sunflower, an amazing flower that is, and to think that you could eat that baby green and you're getting all that energetics of what the flower represents is quite a.
Is it the
beautiful
same
thing.
kind of seed that you'd see at the Kelly King?
I don't
farm?
know if Kelly folks are growing black oil seed. It's black oil seed.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. You usually see the striped sunflower.
Are there lots of different
But
sunflowers?
it probably is. Yeah, there are.
Oh.
It probably is black oil because they're harvesting for the oil, for the diesel. So
Oh,
I would
see.
think they're going with black oil seed. Yeah, Bob King's really a
But-
wonderful farmer. Yeah.
Well, and you are also, just like you said, it's output per square.
Foot. That's
inch.
right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right.
Wow.
Yeah. We're
So are we getting to the point where we can have people buy farms by the inch? You're not ready to sell
That's
yet.
right. Not yet. Not yet.
Once you get that down, I think that one's going to be your winner.
Yeah, yeah. I hope that our farm can have a succession plan. That was our son, So, I don't know how much more time we're going to be able to farm. Irene, she, bless her heart, she's got this bionic hand. She cuts all by hand, and all the trays, and then we we make it happen. We make it work. And our daughter is a bright light. Kahanu Lani, she's a entrepreneur. Grew up in an entrepreneurial household, right?
Yeah.
And so she does pop-ups right now with upcycling clothing. She does all this quality clothing. She's like 31 women who sell her clothes. Like, in other words, she gives them a percentage back, but she has a really fine taste. Kahanu has got this great eye for cute clothing, that girls just go crazy for. We just had First Friday, she was just doing so wonderful there. And she comes up to me afterwards and she said, "Dad, I just feel so bad just watching, some of the other vendors aren't doing so well." She's got this really big heart. And, having a Hawaiian mama, just has that beautiful aloha spirit of her. And, but yeah, she's making a go of it, and just got a county grant too to upcycle, keep clothing out of the landfill, so she's moving forward with that.
How terrific.
Yeah. And so, it's a thing where, we're community people. We've done a lot of work in the community over the years. That's why it's kind of a cruel joke that our son passed, and we're still dealing with that. You never get over it.
Yeah.
I live a happy life. I want to live the rest of my life, and as happily as I possibly can. And we just get up and do the best we can each day.
Well, that's why when I see your thought of the day, I think of all of it, of what a positive light you are, and how
thank you.
And like you say, you don't ever really get over it. You don't recuperate. You're sort of like, you're moving forward in the spirit of the love that is still,
that's
still
right.
tangible.
Yeah, thank you, Jason. Yeah,
I
bless
get
your
it.
heart. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Well, and I keep looking now. I look around. I see we talking so positive, and we think, well, these guys are so positive. How much of this is happening here at a pace where we're going to be able to save this corner of the earth? My vision for how long? You know me, a long time.
Yeah.
I've been talking. I'm an old rattled thing about putting it all together, mixing all the soup together, integrating it all together. Again, this isn't a long story, but I reactivated my real estate license, and the vision is that 60% of my real estate income to go to the nonprofit.
Nice.
To promote art, music, culture, and promote these environmental
Isn't that beautiful?
things.
Good for you.
Right?
Good for others.
So it's like, how do you link up nonprofits? You got to tell them. I got to tell and talk offline with someone like you, because I found that I'm sort of been marginalized over these. I don't know why it is, but I remember when it started.
Yeah.
I was the Green Party when it wasn't fashionable.
You know what my license number is? My license plate is Greens. Yeah, but it's for the people who are thinking it's political. I said, no, it's for our farm.
Sure
but
is.
You've been running a long time, man. You've been putting it in there, and
37 years I'm here, so I'm 74. 37.
You're wearing it
years
well,
ago.
brother.
Thank you. Well, and I think it's there's new times to tie things together. Did you know that I booked the cultural center's opening New Year's Eve, New Year's Day?
Wow.
You never heard the story about how that didn't happen.
Wow.
Roger Dubin came ahead of the visitors where he was supposed to run my place, how they pulled the rug out from under me and all the rest of it. There's a lot of things happened, but
never heard that.
And I know that. Well, it's I say but the best part about the story like that, bad things, is
right.
Good ideas don't go bad.
Right.
They get to be the right time where they make sense. I think we're there because we're a few days from the 2-year anniversary
That's right.
of the Lahaina burn.
Yeah, right.
And I didn't plan it, but I think I'm involved in a thing called West Side Story. There's people that were there, the heroes before there was a FEMA and anybody on the scene,
right,
and how they did it and what happened.
It's beautiful
this
watching
guy
local
that put it
people
together,
do that. Yeah.
pointing out heroes. So I'm in the middle of interviewing heroes and working up the food chain. There are lots that we don't know about out there. That, I don't want to lead a controversy. I want to be able to build in truths.
That's
and
right.
see where it goes, because things are interesting. I mean, when you talk about people talking about seeing bodies and bodies and bodies in the cars that couldn't get out, and then you hear about 100 dead, and you go, things like that. See where I don't want to go talking ahead of others that talk.
Right.
But things are, it's really interesting, and in this world we live in, to see how it all links together. You're amazingly pure, having walked through the state and walked through the government, pure in the sense that you really haven't been stopped because your ideas make sense no matter who's in power, no matter what it is. Even the people that don't believe in the earth is, the earth is not because we're not doing it right. It's happening for another reason, so we can continue to pollute and not use things responsibly because we didn't do it. You've heard that excuse, right? That's the big excuse. We didn't do it. Yeah. It's not from us doing it, so let's continue to keep doing these things that we know aren't good because we're really not the responsible one. Well,
one of the things for me, you touched on is what I'm finding along the way is I don't make others wrong so I could be right about them being wrong. And that's what's really helped me get through the government scene, to be on the Board of Ag, in my politics. It's so easy, it's so easy for folks to make others wrong. A lot of people I find, they get to 40 and they look around, they go, well, what am I doing with my life? Oh my God, I'm 40 already. They hit the 40 wall. And then they find something to latch on to be right. I remember back in the day, a lot of it was the GMO issue. I used to think GMO meant getting Maui organic, But seriously, there was a big movement on people having to be right about something in their life. And so what they do, they go out and latch onto an issue like that, and then they would be just like, you couldn't even talk to them, because they wanting to be right so bad that they'll make someone else wrong so they could be right about something. You understand where I'm going with this?
I do. I remember when I was interviewing still way back then. I remember sitting at a thing with Dr. Buttons Lovell from the Big Island, and these people were pro the GMO group from the college, and then Hector Valenzuela, Dr. Lauren Pang when he was younger, right?
Right, sure.
And Walter Ritty did. So, and they wouldn't meet. They wouldn't be in the same room. They didn't really choose to resolve it.
Right.
They choose to separate it.
Yeah. There's a lot of...
How do we do that? How do we get past that?
I would tell people, look, because people were saying to me when I was president of the Farmers Union, they're saying, well, we got to do something about this. Well, they're going to take over the whole island. I said, that technology is collapsing under its own weight. Nature's like trying to put two magnets together. You can get so close, but then nature, it just repels. Nature has its way. And if we're trying to reinvent nature or try to make it to where we don't even consider nature, then it's kind of fool's play. And so, when I walk up into the valley and I see how old those hills are, and every day, no matter how I'm feeling, no matter what I'm thinking, those hills are those hills. And it just, it's the teacher. It's the teacher. It's telling me to slow down. It's telling me to be quiet, and it's telling me to just be, and so I have really strong feelings around organic. My daughter says to her partner, I can't remember my dad ever taking me to McDonald's, and so the food that we raised our children with. Our son was so healthy; he was amazing. Never had a cavity in his body, and he was teaching his friends about drinking water first thing in the morning and all this kind of thing, So, but we do all this stuff not as a way to be right, but to be able to live healthfully. My God, you're 74. You know what that's about. We get up each morning, man. We just want to be okay. And I recently, as I'm walking up into the valley, I think to myself, I'm kind of preparing to leave this plane. It's in my 70s, and I say that not in the spirit that I'm planning to go anytime soon, but I'm not. I know we're all not getting out of here alive, but at the same time, why push it, right? But preparing myself in a way that says connecting with nature, just truly connecting with nature, feeling nature, being nature, understanding nature as opposed to anything else. And then that's my path. So this way, when I leave this plane, I'm with nature, and it's just a continuation of nature. And so the political agendas, all the noise, that's what I love about the valley. I get away from the noise. There's so much noise happening, and it's something where I just want to continue to live in that spirit and be okay, just be okay, take care of my family, and take care of community too. Still farm. I love to farm. I love composting. I love vermicomposting. I love perforating cardboard into weed mats to see where actual people can grow their soils, and in a way of having alternatives to be able to do that. This is the kind of stuff that moves my spirit, fermenting fish.
Wow, it's what did we say? I forgot the name. What was the meaning for what your farm is?
Oh, Kahanu Aina. Yeah, the breath of the land. But yeah, truly, it's about Malama Aina. It's about, being connected to the source, in a way.
You just keep doing it in all that you're doing. That's really beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm in the worst place I could be personally right now in my life, in the spirit of finances, in the spirit of, just it's a real difficult time right now. And yet at the same time, every morning when I get up and I get into the valley,
I was going to say, you wear it well. You come out with such a smile. You bring a smile on everybody's face.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
And like I said, I don't know how to think of you except I feel a smile.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
Just always do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so important that, that's why I didn't hesitate to, when you reached out to, because I know who you are and what you stand for, and you've always been in the neutral zone. You hear people out, and I appreciate about that.
I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Because then you realize there aren't two sides.
Yeah.
There was never sides.
That's right.
Isn't that what we learn? Yeah. We're all together in this.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, and I've always felt that about you. And just amazingly beautiful spirit.
Thank you, brother.
What's
just a mirror,
Well, thank you. Where are you going from here? Are you just continuing just to live each day and appreciate each day?
Yeah. Yeah. And here we are on Maui, right? We're on the furthest landmass of any landmass on the planet. That was one of my lines in TED Talk. But truly, we're in the middle of the Pacific, and we have so many power places to get to. I want to walk in Haleakala again. We used to hike Haleakala all the time. That's why the training in the EAL, I feel like I'm training to go back in. Yeah. And so, I want to travel back to Italy. I want to see my family in Sicily and Italy again. I applied for Italian citizenship. And so hopefully that'll occur. I don't know what I'll do with that, but at the same time, I wanted my daughter to benefit from that. And, we'll see. It's a thing
What kind of benefits should she have?
Well, she would be also a citizen. She would get dual citizenship. And so, it's a thing where at her age, she's a ripe old age of 30. So, 31, I think now. Yeah, 31. And so,
how can she be 31 when we feel like we're 31?
I tell you. I used to think 40 was old when I was in my 20s, right?
So, 40 is half my life ago. I think about that. That's incredible.
It is. That's why it's going to be a trip to get back to Koho'olave and feel, I used to do all the composting for the access, all the people that would come and all the food that was left over, and we would compost, and and it was a really cool thing there. And that island was amazing, just being there. I don't know, have you ever been on the island? Oh my God, it's powerful place of Hawaiian spirit there. And so I'm really excited for my wife to touch the island touch her.
Yeah.
Being Hawaiian. And so yeah, there's I just look to just continue doing what I'm doing and let the universe do the math and support me along the way. I tell people, we kind of find people like live their life, have, do, be. If I have this, then I can do this, and then I'll be. And just encourage myself to and others, just be, do, have. It's important to be who we are, so we can do what we feel our spirits wants us to do, and we'll have what we need. And so that's how it's worked at this point. And I don't feel the universe is a cruel joke, so we'll take it in that spirit.
And because of the way I watch as you're living and appreciating each day, and the before you recognize it, but you don't live it. You live now.
Yeah.
You're very, very alive.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm your mirror, man. You're living that yourself. It's great. You got a gig here. You're doing this gig.
I'm just having fun, and I want to keep bringing good people to light.
Yeah,
that's what this is about for me.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
And hopefully,
that space.
And I only get political if it suddenly overwhelms me, like GoDaddy's web care people. Or someone wanted to mention, don't go to the tire place. The price they gave you changed. I could turn this into one of those shows. I don't know what we'd call it. Don't ask, don't tell.
Chase rant.
Someone said to me, "You're not really a talk show host." Well, what's well, I have to, I guess, to tell more jokes and cut you off more and turn the subject around. And I don't know. I've been doing this for so long, but having fun at it.
That's the main thing.
My goal has been literally to bring people into the light so they feel comfortable to be themselves.
Yes, absolutely.
And share who they are.
Thank you.
That was how I did my political interviews. I wasn't there with an agenda to hurt anyone.
Yeah, right.
No matter what their opinion was. If I could talk to someone,
that's right.
To me, that's a win.
Yeah.
If it's the people that aren't willing to change their positions, that aren't open to negotiating.
That's right.
And embracing a solution.
Yeah, that's right. No, it's true enough. It's called collaborating and cooperating, and that's basically the mantra I lived with in building a farmers union, building Maui Aloha Aina Association. It was my wife and I, we were amazing partners in that spirit, the synergy, 1 + 1 = 3 kind, and doing all that work. I mean, we used to get done the farm. Irene would go in the house, cook dishes. I would get all this, load up all the van of all the stuff. We'd have the week before we go out and get prizes for the what do you call it, the raffle. Unraffle. We had to call it an unraffle because you're not allowed to have raffles, right? And then we would gather produce, so we'd have a produce swap, and then we drive up to the other mountain, Haleakala, the pool room in Pukalani, and we would put on a gathering for folks, potluck, and we'd have this amazing spread of food, and we would have farmers speaking, and it was just, that was the birth, that was the nexus of, now it's 16 chapters statewide, doing the same thing. And it's a beautiful thing, to highlight local agriculture in your region, to be able to create value in your particular region for local agriculture. That's why I'm back in the trench doing this work. That's what it is. It's trench work, fermenting fish and perforating cardboard and all this stuff. But what I learned how to do in that trench is be able to kiss the walls of the trench. Know that that's the trench I want to be in. I love doing this work. And when it gets difficult, just kiss the walls of the trench.
And like you say, you're doing it with Kekai. Now you're doing
Yes.
it more in the community in a broader brush.
Yeah, not as much in the community. I mean, I'm consulting with people and stuff, but those days are over. All the I mean, what my wife and I have done over the years is just we say to each other, well, we know what we did, and it was a beautiful thing, and that was then, and now it's just taking care of ourselves and our family, and just be able to consult with people doing this work, and yeah.
Well, you've left an impact, and you're leaving an impact now. That
Thank you.
like I want to say, you said kiss the trench. It's like you're in this trench. You're doing the work, and you're, what do we say? I always like to say vision plus action. That's how you get a result.
That's right.
So that's the same thing. You're doing it,
Yeah.
and you're setting that groove for the next groove setters. You're the shoulders that our next generation.
Interesting. Yeah, because I've had some Uncle Harry Mitchell being one of them, Uncle Leslie Coolillo, have had great mentors along the way, and Jerry Brunetti, and a lot of people that just help shape my world. So yeah, I can appreciate that others will come behind and continue this work and develop it in a way that'll benefit others. Yeah.
Well, Vince Mina, you've been terrific. Vincent Mina, how do we find you on Facebook? Vincent, right?
Yeah, Vincent Mina, yeah.
M-I-N-A, and...
on Instagram is Maui Mina. Yeah,
okay.
And even TikTok. I think I'm Maui Mina 69 on TikTok.
Wow.
But yeah, I'm like into social media, so that's good. At this age, a lot of people I know that don't even have an email.
Well, we are out of here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, brother.
It's been a blessing.
Appreciate it.
I am going to hit the button, and we are out of here. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you next week. Aloha, everyone.
Aloha. Yeehaw. That went by fast.
Real fast.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it, man.